All right, well, listen, you know what else is harmful is when two people break up and they're not on the same page. This year,
Ooh.
we caught up with Common. You know, rapper Common came on the show and broke the news to us about why he and my friend Tiffany Haddish, the A-list actress that we all know her to be, didn't make it. Their relationship broke up and their relationship ended, and he claimed that the breakup was caused by distance and not having enough time together. Now, if you missed that interview, I don't know where you were, but we got it for you. Take a look. Was there just no way of figuring out how to make it work in the whole demand of your career? Because I mean, I I don't know. I'm biased, but I loved y'all together.
Man, I mean, I feel like our energy is great together, and I I feel like we discussed it. We kind of gave it time, and I I think like for one thing that because I care about Tiffany a whole lot, like, I was like, I want to make sure she is happy, and if I wasn't going to be able to keep that happiness, then I didn't want to do that. And sometimes, I do understand that, man, some relationships transition into other things, like meaning sometimes they transition into friendships. Sometimes you are in that person's life and you all give each other what you give each other, and then you flourish and grow like into new things. And one thing I can say about Tiffany and I, like, I feel like both of us cherish and value that relationship and our relationship, and have both come out better human beings. So I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to, like, just be like, one thing I don't do is just do things. I'll tell you this: I don't do music, love, family, God, any acting. I don't do any of those half-heartedly. None of it. Like, I don't do it three-fourths heartedly. I got to give my whole soul to it, my whole heart and soul. And honestly, like I said, it's difficult when you putting a lot into the music, the acting, and then you going to these places and you got to stay here. Look, I'm in London right now. I'm basically gonna be in London for the next 5 months. I come home for Christmas, but I'm here. It's difficult to help to try to keep, especially when somebody is filming. Tiff doing her own movie for like 6 months. So it's like,
Mhm.
okay, how do we keep this? So that, I think it truly did come down to some of that.
I want to say this because I know sometimes I come off shady. This interview was scheduled with Common a couple months ago. Tiffany had tried to help me get this interview a couple months ago when things were good. So the interview was already scheduled to happen. But what wasn't scheduled to happen was my interview with Tiffany Haddish directly after this interview. So I flew to Hawaii to sit and talk with her to see if she saw the show and to see what she thinks about his reason for their breakup. And this is what she said. So Rashid was not on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
You were there without him, single, and you're single now. But I just interviewed him, and he said the reason why. First of all, I have to tell you, as somebody who talks to you every single day, as somebody who knew that the relationship had ended, I hadn't even said anything. I read it on People,
Mm-hmm.
and then I texted to you, and then is that when you saw it?
Mm-hmm.
How does
No,
your
I saw you. You texted to me, but my publicist texted me before you did, and was like, when they emailed me and said the People magazine just hit us up about this. We're not responding, and I was like, what the who the
and you hadn't told nobody? So this is my thing. Like, how does your business about your relationship get out if only two people know that it's over?
no. More than two people in my camp knew that it was over.
Okay.
And I'm sure a bunch of people in his camp knew, because I sure was calling them like, can y'all get my stuff out of his house? Can you send it to my house? Please, thank you. Appreciate it.
So how do you feel about it being over?
I'm fine with it. It's gonna be new opportunities. I miss him. I miss him from time to time, but that's what I think with any relationship, an intimate relationship that you might have, you miss them. But I'm fine with it. It's cool.
But he said in the interview that the reason why it was ending was because of busy schedules, which I didn't really, I mean, I love Rashid and I know you love Rashid too. And I didn't want to be rude in the interview, but come on now. That doesn't make sense because you're both famous, you're both busy, you both have schedules.
Right.
What did you think about that?
The same thing everybody else was thinking in them comments.
Well, people were saying he's the common denominator because they talked about his past relationships with other famous women. I asked him in the interview, does he have a thing for famous women? He says, no, he just loves powerful women.
He might be the type of person that never like really settles with somebody. Maybe he's like he's like a bee going from flower to flower to flower. I don't know. I wish him nothing but joy and happiness. He will always be cool.
Okay, that's the PC answer. But were you angry when you saw his answer?
I was disappointed. Mm-hmm. I was very disappointed. I was like, oh, okay. Because that's not what you told me, but okay.
Wait, well, what did he tell you?
You know what? That's between us.
And do you feel like at this point you're done with, like, famous guys? Would you date another famous man?
I will one.
Well, listen, clearly there's two different stories here. What did you guys think of that?
I think she said a lot when she said, maybe he's like a bee going from flower to flower to flower. I think she said a whole lot in that line right there. If I had to just ponder upon the reasons of why they broke up, maybe somebody was, whatever bees do, sniffing another flower. Possibly. Maybe he was
Yeah, so
around.
I found this clip more triggering than the Angela Stanton one.
Really?
The comment,
really?
like I was shaking watching the Common interview because based on what I do, like what he did is classic charming gaslighting. Like he was talking in circles the entire time. I'm gonna, she's a good person. We got movies. Like, I love acting. Like he was talking in circles the entire time while trying to sound tactful and peace and love, but he wasn't really saying. He is a charming gaslighter. And no offense, Lonnie, you're a lovely man. Charming gaslighters have to be to get away with what they do. And when you're dealing with a charming gaslighter, I've been engaged to one. They will drive you nuts in the relationship, but be so likable that you feel bad for them as they're wasting your time. And then when it's over, they say everything but accountability. Never once did he take accountability for how I am sure he disappointed her. And the thing about a charming gaslighter, which confirmed it for me, is as someone who's been in Tiffany's position, when you see the BS they sell to the public, because their image means everything to them, you're so blown about how full of it they are. All you can say is, wow, he's a good person. I wish him the best, but I'm disappointed. So the minute she said that, I immediately knew what was happening. Common is probably going to die with a 25-year-old girlfriend who's an A-list actress. He's going to date until the rest of his days. That's fine. But ladies, be very, very careful. Charming men who are full of it, look at their track record because they tell on themselves. That was triggering.
Well, listen, I will say, she's been very respectful in the whole process because she hasn't told me why they broke up. I don't know the full details. What I will say is that I applaud her for being as honest as she was because, as you know, we work in an industry and in a world where people stay tight-lipped until the days they die about some of the details of why their intimate relationships don't work out. I thought it was also telling when she said she had to call his people to get her stuff out his house. There were like little things she said that I don't know if she realized when she was saying, or maybe she did, but there were a lot of clues. They were like, well, hold on, what did he do? And one thing I've seen is that women online are not buying into what Rashid was saying. And also it was why I asked him in the interview is, do you like dating famous women? Because he has a pattern of dating multiple famous women. He's dated Erykah Badu. He's dated Serena Williams. We've seen these relationships play out in public and play out the same way this one did. And I know that, COVID was COVID and people have spent time together. And now that outside is opening up and careers are picking back up, I still feel like when you want somebody bad enough, you make it work. I said to Tiffany, if I was in New York and the guy I was dating was in DC, even if it was only for one night, I would send, and I had they type of money, I would send a helicopter to go pick him up, bring him to me so we could have dinner. We could have the best sex, have the best night, and then put him in a helicopter and send him back. Those are the type of things that I think you do to feed your relationship to keep them alive if you want it bad enough. And the other thing with Tiffany is that, she is very much a strong woman and confident about herself. And there's a level of confidence that may be very unsettling for some men. I'm not saying that's the case for Rashid because he is a really nice guy. I was surprised that this didn't work. But nonetheless, it seems like both are happy and both mutually agreed to move on per the press release.
Do you think that's why he dates strong women, Jason? Because a part of me is starting to feel like he dates strong women because he knows that whatever he's doing to them, only a strong woman won't snap and put him on Front Street. I'm just saying. I'm starting to see
I
a
don't
pattern
know.
now.
I don't know because the thing
Uh,
about it is, all the peace and love and all that you see with him, that is who he is. He is a really
Mm-hmm.
nice, what I understand to be non-confrontational person. He does not like confrontation. And so one could also argue maybe there's some abandonment issues. Maybe you just end the relationship the way that you do and just flee because you don't want to deal with it. Like a quote man should. I don't know. I know that I was disappointed to see this one not working. Another relationship that I'm telling you I got my eye on that I'm making sure I do everything to hold up is Rihanna and ASAP because I love them together. Like I
Oh.
really want to see that relationship work. And it seems to be working very fine. So yeah, I don't know. This was sad to see, and the timing of these interviews couldn't be any more perfect because it was literally one right after the other.
I have a quick question. Do you think it's possible for two, celebrities to have a long lasting relationship? I know we see them here and there, but it's
Mhm.
when you look at in it to totality, it's not that many celebrity relationships that last that long. There are a few that stand out, but it seems like somebody does take kind of like the stardom and someone kind of takes the back seat.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? If you get two narcissists together, like a Kim and Kanye, probably not. A Beyonce and a Jay-Z probably will. I think they have more of a business relationship at this point. I'm not saying there's no love, but like there's so much invested in that relationship from a brand perspective and a world influence perspective, forget the money, that it just makes sense to make it work. I don't really know of any real relationships besides our grandparents that are lasting this long, because I really believe that the world of social media has destroyed relationships. And there's always this idea that there's something more out there when really, if you could just find somebody that you could be comfortable with, that you can trust and partner with, I don't know why people wouldn't gravitate towards that. And look, this is my single ass telling you what I think about long-standing relationships. I'm not an expert, haven't perfected it.